Welcome back to Data Cloud Now. We are examining manufacturing and delighted to be joined by Asghar from H2O.ai, who is currently in Hannover Messe in Germany. Great to have you on the program. At H2O, your objective is to democratize AI. What trends are you noticing specifically in the manufacturing space as it relates to AI?
Thanks, Brian. Yeah, absolutely. One of the major trends that we see in manufacturing is increase in adoption of IoT. I wish that you were here. When I walk down the aisle, every other booth here is talking about, IoT. So basically what IoT is that, it's, embedding sensors and other means of data collection into machines. And, with that way, manufacturers collect vast amount of data from their operations. So what we have seen in the past was that manufacturers were busy, getting the infrastructure right. But what happens now, we see more and more, is really, manufacturers started to use AI to apply to the data that they're collecting now and improving their process. And other trends that we see is, using computer vision in production lines, for example, to improving the quality or detecting the quality issues, defects, and things like this. Another growing trend is applying machine learning in supply chain management and logistics. So, these are typical trends that at least we see that manufacturing show interest in.
I'm so happy that you mentioned supply chain, because very much top of mind for many. You covered a little bit, but what role will AI continue to play in the world of manufacturing here?
Exactly. I mean, supply chain is one of the areas that many manufacturing are interested in, because, what you can do here is that applying AI and getting, in order to analyze and, understand, getting insight from the data that you can get from suppliers, from, transportation system and other sources, in order to optimize your supply chain. Let me just give you a few examples here. Predicting, for example, sales and demand trends. That will help manufacturers to optimize their inventory availability, or scheduling or optimizing production schedule, and also reducing waste. That would be one example. Another example is that a lead time optimization. So you can use AI to understand, for example, what is the delivery time, and based on that, you can work out and optimize your, lead time, and following a lead time optimization, you will be able to manage better your stack out risk, for example. In other ways that manufacturers use AI in realm of supply chain is logistic optimization, and using that they could reduce transportation costs and also make delivery times much better using AI. Another space is is document AI. So what manufacturers do, they automate document processing using AI to extract information from documents, to classify them, or to understand also anomalies in the documents. And using that, they save lots of time, and also detecting much better the errors that might appear in the process. Another interesting areas again that we have seen recently has been picked up a lot, and especially after the war and COVID-19, is identifying risks within supply chain. So these are the really few instances that we see, at least our customers show interest in it, and they are building solutions for these type of problems.
So I absolutely love it, Asghar. It's clearly all taking place at Hannover Messe, the excitement, the crowds, the noises. With the launch of the Manufacturing Data Cloud, how will this increase value for your customers and allow H2O to unlock additional opportunities for your clients?
Yeah, that's really great question. What is the value really of integration these two technologies? Machine learning and platform provider like H2O and Snowflake. Imagine you as a manufacturer wanted to solve your core business problems, such as the one that we have this called supply chain problem. The issues that you want to be busy with is like, predicting, demands, or, stackouts and things like this that you want to be busy and solve those type of problems. But when you start engaging and want to build the models around these type of problems, what happens is that you need to take into account a few factors, such as what sort of data platform I'm going to use, what is the suitable machine learning platform, how I build the model, where I deploy it, how I deploy it, what is the security and governance that I need to take into account, how effectively now I can integrate all these pieces together. So these stuff could be really challenging and time-consuming and very complex. So which easily can detract from the core business problems, such as supply chain optimization. But what happens now? Gladly, with this integration, now customers, basically this integration addresses a lot of these issues that I've just mentioned. So what it means now, customers can simply focus effectively and efficiently in solving their core business problem rather than technology integration in these sort of complexity. In a unified environment, you can imagine, where your data is, that's exactly where now your machine learning model will stay. So in a really unified environment, whatever the security and governance that you get for data, now you get for your machine learning models.
It's an exciting next chapter. Asghar, really appreciate you taking the time to share your insights on the manufacturing industry. Thank you so much for joining me on Data Cloud Now.
Thank you.
And for the audience watching, I'm Ryan Green. I'll see you next time.